All right, welcome back to Woodshop Wednesdays. And so what I'm doing now is I'm about to mark these shells. Actually, I've already done 3 of them, but I figured I needed to show you how I do this. So I'm using my roller contraption jig I made years and years ago, and that helps me to lay this tape down along each end of the shell. Okay, and this is my layout mat. Bought this years ago from a company called Drum Foundry. And so it's got markings for a 6-lug, 8-lug, and 10-lug configuration. Right now, what I'm doing on the toms, with the exception of the 8-inch tom, they're all 6-lug configuration. So I'm gonna look for the green lines, okay? However, I wanna start with knowing where my badge is going to be. And on this, I determined that I wanted the badge to be somewhere in this vicinity. So the first green line is going to be, offset from that. So I'm going to position this shell and get it ready to go. Okay, this is a 13-inch shell, so I've got it centered on that portion of the mat. You can see these different lines coming out away from the center, each representing a different diameter shell. So got my badge centered. I'm going to mark where each lug will go. Okay, I made this square. Oh man, probably made this thing back in 2005. It's made out of waterfall bubinga, and it's perfectly square. It's wood, so this is the square I always use to make these long lines here, where I made the first mark. That way I need to, or I'm going to determine where the piece of tape will go. You'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, now I have a reference point on this end of the shell and on this end of the shell where this tape needs to be. And now I can draw a line all the way up the shell. And then finally I use this square It's made by Drum Foundry also. It's a snare drum T-jig. I use it for marking where my lugs will go. So I determined that I want the lugs to be 1 3/4 inches down from the bearing edge. And that way it leaves me some room to recut the bearing edges if I want to. And it looks good for the size of the shell and where the lug is placed. That's just a matter. It's subjective. It's just my opinion. So anyway, this is just repeatability because it's locked down. Okay, and a little sneak preview of the lugs here. So those will be sitting right about there. Give you a topical view here. So that's gonna be about where I want it to be. I might actually come in a little bit more than that, maybe 2 inches instead of 1 3/4, because it'd still look good. Bring it about right there. Yeah, I think I'll do that. All right. Got all those marked, or remarked, I should say. I was going to go with 1 3/4 spacing from the top edge down or bottom edge up, but I decided on 2 inches because I think it'll look better and allows even that much more room for cutting bearing edges in the future. The only one that it's not going to look weird, but because this is the shortest and smallest shell, the lugs will look like they're a little bit closer together, but again, not too much. Again, that's subjective. It's just my opinion. Now, this is the 15-inch diameter floor tom, and to me, this is the prettiest drum shell of all of them. But again, it's just my opinion. I wish that all of the wood looked like this. I love that kind of ribboning effect that the African mahogany has. So I'm going to put the badge here, but you can see as I rotate it how it changes. It doesn't look quite the same. It's more apparent in person than it is on this camera, but in any case, I like the way it looks the best right in here. So that's where I'm going to put my badge. Yeah, this camera makes everything look really dark. Anyhow, and I think the bass drum looks good too. Again, it's all personal opinion, but I like the way the striping is, the marking figure, whatever you want to call it, on that one. But they'll look good. They should look good overall anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and get this one marked, and that's going to do it for today. Okay, welcome back to Wood Shop Wednesdays. Did a little bit of a marking for the holes that I'm going to drill in these shells. Let me turn this camera around if I can. All right, got the camera turned around. So, went down to Memphis Drum Shop. Place is amazing. Every time I go in there, I have to get out of there quick, fast, and in a hurry because it's like a drummer's candy store. But anyway, went down there to get some drum heads just for this 10-inch tom. And I'm gonna go ahead and try out this Ambassador Vintage Coated. Curious about it. It's a double ply head, but it has the thickness of a Ambassador with medium frequency pronunciation of an Emperor, which is what I used to use, but I'm just curious about this drum head. Anyhow, I've got the 10-inch tom here, and what I was wanting to do before I started drilling is to get a drum head, set it up on there, get the hoop set in place, and then find out where I think the drum lug would look the best. Normally in the past, I always put it at 1 3/4, which is about right there. I went ahead and marked 2, which is right there. And I think I'm gonna stick with my original mark, the 1 3/4 inches down, because the way the drum hoop is made, obviously, if I had to do, you know, a lot of recutting of bearing edges, I've got a lot of room to work with right there. And to me, it just aesthetically will look better at that 1 3/4 inch. It's a subtlety, but that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to start getting ready to drill this shell and do an assembly of one. Here we go. And now I'm going to mark for the badge where the center line is. And now I've got a center line, and so that's exactly where the vent hole is going to go, right in between those two lines. Normally I would use a vent hole screw, but I'm not going to do that. Don't need it. It's more for aesthetics than anything else, and I don't really care about it because the vent hole is going to be facing me behind the drum set anyhow. So I got a center line for the badge as well. That's the center point right there, so I'm going to have to run a piece of tape across here and find out exactly where those holes need to be. Okay, here's my badge. And where the eye is in artisan is basically center. So I'm gonna put that on the center point and then mark. Not sure if I'm gonna be able to see it or not. Okay, I'll bring you back in a minute. Okay, I got those marked. A little bit cumbersome. I'm going to drill an 1/8 inch hole because I'm using a number 6 screw. Right there. All right, it's assembly time. So got all the tape taken off there. Don't know if I showed you guys this yet, but these are some lugs. They're made out of solid brass. This is a design that I came up with years ago. It's actually turned out of hex stock, as you can see, if it'll focus, and then a little flat on top. So I had a machine shop make these for me years ago. I've had some in storage for quite some time. And then I sent them out recently for some chrome plating, so that's what I'm going to be using. There's a bunch more of them over here, enough to do this whole drum set and then a few extra. So, all right, here we go. Right tool for the right job. There's one. there it is, number one. This is the 7.5 by 10. Man, I'm excited about that. All right, the proof's in the pudding. Let's see how she sounds. Wow, just picking it up, it started to resonate. Oh yeah. Man, that is resonant, very full sounding. I'm loving it. All right, that's gonna do it for this episode of Woodshop Wednesdays, and I'm gonna go on to assembling the rest of the drums. I won't bore you with all of that assembly, but once I get them all done, I'll do a video to show the whole drum set. I might show some more of the assembly, we'll see. But anyway, all right, African mahogany, my own personal design lug, solid brass, chrome plated, Artisan Drum Works. All right, can you tell I'm excited? All right, we'll see you guys next time.